achieve that goal. And almost no one, again, as I said, liked the way the process ended, but we owe it to the men and women in uniform to get this right. It'll require collaboration with the department to inform and produce a product that will meet that goal. I look forward to being your partner in that effort. And again, I want to thank you for being here today. And again, I want to thank you for your extraordinary service to this country before you assumed this position. I think that's one of the reasons why we've done as well recruiting, is people that are thinking about putting on the uniform of the United States have confidence in you because you've made that decision and you served this country with distinction before you ever came on this post. And leading by example is an important thing, and I want to thank you for the example you set for men and women that wear the uniform of the United States. With that, again, welcome in your first appearance, and we look forward to hearing your testimony. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to now turn to the ranking member of the full committee, Ms. DeLauro, for any opening comments.
Thank you so much, Chairman Calvert and Ranking Member McCollum, and always to, again, my dear friend, the chairman of the committee. We've worked together for many years in producing, I believe, bipartisan appropriations bills, and it's our attempt to be able to do that this go-round as well. Thank you for holding this oversight hearing on President Trump's Department of Defense. To our witnesses, Secretary Hegseth, Chairman Kaine, Ms. McDonnell, welcome to the House of Representatives, and thank you for appearing before us today. Defense is the largest portion of our discretionary budget, yet you have still not sent this committee a complete budget request. We are in mid-June, Mr. Secretary. We are marking up a defense funding bill in a few hours, and yet we have no idea what your department actually needs. We have no details as to how you want to implement your plans. We should be discussing how you plan to get our submarine programs in order, how the Black Hawk platform will be utilized into the future, and how you plan to improve our service members and their families' quality of life. It is unacceptable for us to move forward with a defense funding bill without this information, and it is regrettable that the administration has put us in this position. If we cannot complete this process on time, we risk yet another continuing resolution, which is wasteful, inefficient, and detrimental to our military readiness. Already, your methods for funding our nation's defense programs are as unwise as they are unprecedented. You backed the first full-year continuing resolution for the Department of Defense. Particularly defense has always been opposed to moving in that direction because of the uncertainty that a continuing resolution portends for defense and for the defense industry. Now you are relying on a risky and a partisan budget reconciliation process instead of regular appropriations to fund vital programs. The appropriations process is wherein lies the power of the purse, according to the U.S. Constitution. However, this is still an essential opportunity for oversight, and the Department of Defense under your leadership is in desperate need of it. Your tenure as Secretary has been marked by endless chaos. Your first day in office, the Inspector General, whose job is to investigate waste, fraud, and abuse, was fired. Weeks later, you dismissed the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and 5 other admirals and generals. Your careless sharing of military secrets in a non-secure signal chat, which could have placed American airmen in danger, led to the firing of former National Security Advisor Waltz. You have directly fired several of your top advisors, and the ranks of civilian staff have been decimated within key agency posts, including the Defense Health Agency and the Missile Defense Agency. Mr. Secretary, of all the cabinet departments, stability at the Department of Defense is the most critical for Americans' safety and security. Going after waste in defense and an audit among contractors long overdue, as is a fresh look at defense after what we learned in Ukraine. But that requires thoughtfulness and cooperation, not rash and reckless purges of leadership and rank-and-file staff. And firings based on political loyalty are an affront to what our Constitution and our military stands for and depends on. Meanwhile, this administration has done seemingly everything possible to alienate America on the world stage and turn our back on our allies, particularly Ukraine. Our belligerent trade wars and the dismantling of our humanitarian mission all have implications for our national security. Why would anyone trust us or partner with us when we are busy undermining our allies' economies and encouraging China to fill the vacuum we are leaving by abandoning our humanitarian mission? The bags of flour that I've seen on foreign soil that say U.S. AID, U.S. product of the United States of America will be gone, and instead will be replaced by China or Russia or Iran. Conflicts around the world that President Trump promised he would resolve overnight are only escalating. While we need to focus and prepare for threats to freedom and democracy worldwide, the Department of Defense is mired in controversy and chaos. The American people expect, deserve, and demand better from their military leadership, and the lawlessness across the government must end. This administration has unlawfully dismantled agencies and stolen funding across the government to give billionaires a tax break. America's future soldiers are learning in our public schools. Our future sailors might rely on Medicaid to see a doctor. Our future airmen and women might only have a meal to eat because of SNAP or food stamps, or they may live in subsidized housing. If tomorrow's service members are worried today about having their most basic needs met, then they are being held back from their fullest potential, and that weakens our national security. National security is not just machines and munitions. It requires a whole of government approach, which is why this administration must provide us an acceptable and complete budget as soon as possible so we can conduct proper oversight, and why this administration must cease the lawless stealing of appropriated funds. I thank the chair and ranking member, and I look forward to your testimony. I yield back.
Thank the gentlelady. We'll now begin with witness testimony. Gentlemen, without objection, your full written testimony will be placed in the record. Secretary Hegseth, we can start with you for your summary of your remarks. Secretary, you recognize.
Well, Chairman Calvert, Ranking Member McCollum, distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of President Trump's proposed fiscal year 2026 budget for the Department of Defense. I'm honored to testify today alongside General Dan Kane, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Bryn McDonald, who is performing the duties of DoD's Comptroller and Chief Financial Officer. I'm also proud to represent and serve our warriors and their families. Today, as they do every day, they are keeping America safe. They're defending the homeland, they're standing up and deterring communist China, and we're working hand in glove with allies and partners to achieve peace through strength. I'd actually like to start by thanking this committee and Congress for your bipartisan leadership to give our troops a big pay raise in 2025. This included an additional 10.5% raise for our junior enlisted service members, E1 to E4. Thank you also for supporting other initiatives that will improve quality of life for our warriors and their families. With a focus on our troops and their loved ones, I've directed additional actions that will further improve their quality of life. These include making historic investments in improving the living conditions in barracks and base housing, reforming the PCS process to reduce the cost and stress of moving, and improving the quality of care provided by the defense healthcare system. Now, the best part of my job is meeting and interacting with troops and their families. I hear their concerns. I know how it feels to face those challenges. I've been there recently. Each of these initiatives responds to feedback that I've received from the force, and I'll keep listening and looking for ways to improve their quality of life. Under President Trump's leadership, this budget puts America first and gives our warriors what they need. The $961.6 billion budget request, over $1 trillion for national security, will end 4 years of chronic underinvestment in our military. In the last 4 months, we've moved quickly to reverse course after 4 years of weakness and mismanagement. We've found nearly $30 billion in savings across the department, and we have reinvested those savings. We've killed wasteful programs, targeted bureaucratic excess, and redirected funding from Biden-era priorities to President Trump's priorities. We are re-optimizing the civilian workforce and repositioning resources to better support our warfighters. We're working with the Department of Homeland Security to increase border security. We've reduced China's malign influence in our hemisphere. We've defended freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. However, we still have a lot of work ahead of us to achieve peace through strength. To carry out the President's mission, we have 3 core priorities, as was mentioned: restore the warrior ethos, rebuild our military, and reestablish deterrence. First, we're restoring the warrior ethos. President